4 teams have been sent packing. Now it's time to begin the championship round of the Geico PBA Summer Shootout. Kicking things off, a powerhouse match. Columbia 300's Chris Barnes and Dan McClellan versus Track's Mike Fagan and Mika Koivuniemi.
The PBA Tour is back in the Windy City with a 2012 Geico PBA Summer Shootout. I'm Lon McCarran along with Randy Peterson, enjoying our time here inside the 10-Pin Bowling Lounge in Chicago. The one-and-done format of the shootout is done. We're moving on to the Stepladder finals. Team Storm in the catbird seat. They can sit back and await their eventual opponent. We're going to begin our Stepladder finals with seeds 4 and 5. 2 teams who have to feel fortunate to still be in the mix, Columbia 300 and Track.
Yeah, you're right, Lon. Columbia 300 gets in by virtue of winning the final elimination match. That was their only chance of getting into the Stepladder finals. And Team Track, you know, they got off to kind of a slow, shaky start in this competition. Mike Fagan's been real steady throughout, and then all of a sudden Mika Koivuniemi really stepped it up and took his game to another level. They get into the 4th seed. We have a little bit different format as well for the Stepladder finals. We're going to use a Baker-style format. One player will bowl the odd frames, the other player bowling the even number frames. Remember, this is the Stepladder finals. Win and move on, lose and go home. And we do have another twist.
What's that?
Lon? They're going to have to shoot spares.
Something they have not had to do up to this point in the shootout format. So match number 1, Fagan and Koivuniemi against Barnes and McClellan. Track, a surprise finisher in the top 4 seeds. Columbia 300 earned the 5th seed in the Survivor Shootout. Frame number 1. Koivuniemi needs just 1 ball.
Major Mika stepping up, throwing that first strike to get his team off to a good start.
Chris Barnes now, Columbia 300. His average this past season, almost 223, 10th best on tour. Barnes matches the big fin.
Almost a solid 8. He matches Mika's strike. Mika and Chris Barnes are tour roommates. But right now, the friendship's put to the side.
Barnes' teammate Dan McClellan, just 27 years old. A very strong performer. McClellan with a strike of his own. Columbia 300 with the double.
Come back a little bit. Come back. Take that turn.
Dan Mack wheels this one to the right, and he's going, come on, ball, get up the hill. And it does.
Now Mike Fagan from Team Track won his first major this past season, the USBC Masters, defeating Barnes there, 246, 213.
Really a breakout season for Mike Fagan.
Three strikes ahead of him. Oh, but not for Fagan.
Michael. Yep.
The 3, 4, 6, 7, 10 right through the nose. This ball's just a little left of target, and watch it jump right through the head pin.
So a tall order for Fagan here. And as you've mentioned, Randy, they have not been throwing spare balls throughout the competition. And boy, Mike has his hands full here. An open frame for Fagan.
Heck of a try there.
So Track down early to Columbia 300.
Mika just needs to keep doing what he's been doing, and that's throwing strikes.
13 years on tour, 9 titles, 3 majors for the man they call Major Mika. now living in the U.S. and Michigan. And Koivu Niemi with another strike. That'll lift the spirits of his partner, Mike Fagan. Now, Chris Barnes once again. Barnes had a rarity on the 2012 Geico Shark Open, a televised 300 game. His family was on hand to witness it, and it seems into his 40s he's not lost a step, but the price he pays to remain an elite competitor is steep.
Well, I think in any sport there's guys, and particularly young guys, that are always trying to get better, and they've learned from the people in front of them. And I think as soon as you stop trying to get better, you start getting passed up at that point. And so I'm delaying that process as long as I can.
A lot of hard work to stay on top, Randy.
Yeah, and Barnes is a tactician. He's always working on things, always trying to get better, always working on his physical game.
And a 3 spot for Columbia, 300 to open up this match.
They lead by 32, fourth round.
They look very confident right now. Big lead for them.
That's what you call taking advantage of an opening given to you by your opponent.
Dan McClellan now.
But they can really start to separate with another strike right here.
McClellan, though, with 8.
Wow. That was in.
Boy, he liked it, and the ball never grabbed a hold of the lane when it came off the end of the pattern. Watch this. Right when he thinks the ball's going to start going left, it just kind of labors. And now Dan McClellan runs the risk of an open frame and giving it right back to track.
Fagan for track with an open in the second. And McClellan misses everything, so Columbia opens here in the fourth.
Sorry, man. I was close.
So Mika Koivu Niemi, strong as always, as is Chris Barnes. Their partners, though, flinching just a bit. The Geico PBA Summer Shootout is brought to Chicago in our continuing coverage of the 2012 Geico PBA Summer Shootout. We've got a good match between Track and Columbia. One of these teams will move through the Stepladder finals. Mike Fagan, the next one up. He opened up in the second. Boy, what a season Fagan is coming off of. 2 wins, including his first major at the USBC Masters, beating Chris Barnes in the final.
And it's all about confidence. Once Mike Fagan realized that he was a winner and could be a top-notch player out on this tour, that's when he captured his first major.
You're right, Randy. It was just a matter of time before that first major was coming his way.
You know, I felt like I've had the game physically for a long time. You know, I've always been tweaking things to try to sharpen up, but I just really wanted to, you know, break out. And, you know, I think when I finally came to peace with myself mentally, you know, I could just get out there and just focus on the game and not worry about winning this or winning that or doing good in that tournament. You know, at that point it didn't matter. You know, I could just throw the ball.
Mental aspect so big in this game. You could have the tools, but you have to have the mental strength to go along with it. He opened in the second, trying to bounce back. And Fagan does just that.
Yeah, big strike there, taking advantage of the open frame by Dan McClellan, cuts the lead, or excuse me, cuts the deficit to 6 with a big strike right here and a nice break, trip in the 4.
All right, so Fagan has found his groove once again. Conversation between McClellan and Barnes on how to approach their lanes. Now Mika Koivu Niemi, Fagan's teammate.
Mika with a strike here on the left lane can help his team take the lead.
The winner of this match will meet Team Brunswick on the next step of the Stepladder.
Come on.
And Mika with another strike. 3 in a row for the team, 3 in a row for Mika.
Great shot here. Mika steps up, gives it a little loft, a little air time, and that's 10 in the pit for Mika Koivuniemi.
Chris Barnes now in the 5th. Barnes answers the Big Fin with the Big 10.
Barnes has been perfect thus far. 3 strikes for him in 3 attempts. Now it's up to his partner, Dan McClellan.
One time.
McClellan from Ontario, Canada. Just 3 years on tour. And he leaves the 10 pin.
Straight up.
Him and Barnes talking strategy. Dan decided to make a ball change. Avoids the split. This ball goes a little bit harder in the back part of the lane. Watch the back end reaction there. Trips the 4-7 late, only leaving the 10 pin.
Dan will try to clean this up. And he does.
Wasn't 8.
It wasn't 8.
I didn't do that. The cameraman was moving, trying to get back to.
All right, Mike Fagan back on the approach.
That was close.
Fagan
Yeah.
working on Mika's strike.
Can increase the lead to 14 with a strike here. Let's see what the king of swing has in store for us.
Fagan has a doubles title to his credit. And he leaves the 10 pin.
Good shot there.
And he's wondering, how did that not go down? Well, let's find out.
Really good shot here, just to leave a ring in 10. To maintain the 3-pin lead, he's got to convert the 10-pin.
That he does easily. And this tight match number 1 of the Stepladder Finals continues.
Close match. Mika Koivuniemi stepping up in the 7th frame. He has been perfect. The 2-time player of the year, struck on every attempt.
During the singles competition, Koivuniemi could not be counted on for a strike. Once they started getting into the doubles, particularly late in the doubles competition, boy, he was solid as ever.
He's really found a home on this left lane.
And now here in the Stepladder, the pressure ratcheted up. And Mika comes through once again for Team Track.
The Big Fin remains perfect in this first match in the all-important Stepladder Finals.
Mike Fagan, Mika Koivuniemi taking on Chris Barnes and Dan McClellan, who will move through to take on Team Brunswick. Back in Chicago in just a moment.
Oh no, you broke your line again? And the bump feeder is jammed, so you'll wind and wind. What a waste of time. But not anymore. Introducing the Pivot Trim, the first trimmer head that keeps your line from breaking, saving you time and money. Just watch. Even banging it on pavers, edging around driveways, and smashing into walls won't break the line. Nothing's
your own.
Mrs. Williams, we
delicious iced coffee from McDonald's. Get any flavor medium McCafe iced coffee for just $1.89.
/Brave.
Soldier Field, home to the Chicago Bears, not far away from our home of the Geico PBA Summer Shootout. A lot of great sports venues here in Chicago on the south side. You have U.S. Cellular Field, where the White Sox play. United Center, not far away. A guy named Michael Jordan scored a few points there. And Wrigley Field, perhaps a stop that every baseball fan takes, or at least wants to take at some point in their life. And then the 10-Pin Bowling Lounge, right next to Harry Carey's restaurant.
That's right. That's right, Lon.
I'm still here.
Track with a slim lead on Columbia 300 in the first match of our Stepladder finals. The winner of this match will move up to face Team Brunswick. Extra Frame is the place to subscribe to exclusive inside footage and exclusive live coverage of senior competitions and special events. Sign up at PBA.com. Chris Barnes now on the approach.
Time to start pumping the brakes. These guys need to turn it around before they fall too far behind.
Barnes has not missed so far in this match and rarely throughout the competition. Barnes with the 9 count here.
Yeah, leaving the 9 pin. Just a pinch high on that right lane. Chris Barnes taking his hand out of the bottom of the ball there, making sure that the ball stays on line, not trying to do a whole lot to it. In his own words, being nice to it at the bottom of the swing.
Chris will clean this up. So 3 strikes and now a spare for Barnes.
Oh, yes, haven't thrown too many second balls in this one. Right in the ear. Oh.
McClellan now.
All right, Dan, pick me up.
Yeah, McClellan could use some pickup of his own. He went strike, 8 spare.
Time to start striking if you're Dan McClellan. He's got to finish this game. He will finish the 10th frame for Team Columbia.
2011 Canadian national champion comes through with the strike when he needed it most. Columbia down by 4.
Makes a little adjustment. The last time he threw this ball on the left lane, he went a little high. Moves in just a pinch, gives it a little more room to the right, shreds the rack. Nice shot.
Team Track, Mike Fagan trying to increase their advantage. Hold Columbia 300 at bay. And Fagan with the strike. All they got to do is strike out and they're fine, right?
Well, it's now up to Mika Koivuniemi to set up the 10th frame for Mike Fagan. If Team Track strikes out, they shoot 247, and there's nothing Team Columbia 300 can do about that because their max score is 233. Big shot, biggest shot of the match for Team Track coming up right here. 9th frame, Mika Koivuniemi has struck on every shot he's thrown in this match.
His last opportunity to strike in this match. And there you go, Mika being Mika.
Perfect game for Mika Koivuniemi. He struck every ball, and now he set up the 10th frame perfectly for Mike Fagan and Team Track.
Mika rolled a televised 300 game in 2003. He knows perfect.
He also rolled a 299 game at last year's Tournament of Champions.
All right, now the ball in Chris Barnes' hands.
To have any chance, he's got to strike here.
They've got a chance.
Cuts the lead to 14.
First one.
They still need help, though, from Track. But Barnes keeping the heat on. Barnes into his Tebow. McClellan now.
Yes!
McClellan gets the strike.
All right.
Wow.
Let's parlay that one, all right?
Dicey moments there.
Shot there.
Well, they're still alive. Dan McClellan needs to now take advantage of this great break, tripping the 4 late. One more strike will put them in the 230s. Track currently in the 220s.
Big moment for young Dan McClellan here. McClellan, can he get him? No, that 10 pin is going to stick.
Check. Well, now they're going to need help from track in the form of an open frame and bad count. Never really found flush. What I mean by that is one was a little high, one was a little light. Never really found the 1-3 square.
Dan cleans that up. 222 for Columbia 300. Perhaps the only ray of hope for Columbia 300 here is knowing that Fagan opened up in the second, but what are the odds with 2 open frames in a game from Mike Fagan?
222 final.
Track just needs a mark and good count.
If they get that, they will move through and take on Team Brunswick. Fagan with the strike in the 10th.
That's a good mark.
That is a pretty good mark. So Team Track moving through after defeating Columbia 300. Mike Fagan and Mika Koivu-Niemi will be meeting Team Brunswick.
Team Track has come back a long way. Remember, it wasn't too long ago when they were cellar dwellers, but the resurgence of Mika Koivu-Niemi and his 5 perfect strikes in this last game, along with a big strike in the 10th frame from Mike Fagan, sealed the deal. They're moving on.
More from the shootout in Chicago when we return. Thanks of the Chicago River at the Geico PBA Summer Shootout. The Columbia 300 team came up just short to Team Track. Here's Randy with the Geico Championship recap.
Well, Team Track got a nice string going late in the game. Mike Fagan there in the 8th frame. Then Mika, who was perfect throughout this match, struck on all 5 shots that he threw in the 9th. And then Mike Fagan just needs a mark in the 10th frame. And what better way to mark than by throwing all 10 in the pit?
So Track, who we thought just was lucky to get seeded, actually wins match number 1, 236 to 222. Randy's down with our winners, Mika and Mike.
And thanks, Lon. Mika, let me start with you. You got off to a pretty slow start in this competition, but man, have you really turned it on. What changed for you?
I figured out the right ball and the right way to ball, and I've been staying in the same lane for a couple of days now, so even I can figure it out.
All right, Mika, thanks. Mike Fagan been steady Eddie throughout this competition. You get up in the 10th frame, you need good count and a mark. What went through your mind when you stepped up in the 10th?
Just want to make a good shot. Just throw that strike. Don't even worry about the spare. Haven't shot a lot of spares this week, so don't want to rely on that spare game. But, you know, we got through the next round. Mika's back. You know, I think we're ready for the challenge coming up.
All right, guys, good luck in your next match.
Team Track is ready to take on all comers. Their match with Brunswick coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Randy Peterson, I'm Lon McCarron. We'll see current player of the year Sean Rash next.